Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Human Training Your Dog is Begging For podcast. Need help understanding your dog and their behaviors? You've come to the right place. From training, behavioral, and emotional issues to the health and happiness of your dog, we want to help you understand your dog better, learn more about creating behaviors you'd like to see more, and hopefully learn how to replace some of those behaviors you'd like to see less of. Our goal is to help you and your dog improve your relationship together and have a dog that is a joy to live with. For today's episode, our conversation will be led by myself and Wyatt. I'm Julie, lead trainer and co-owner of Canine Culture Dog Training here in Dallas, Texas. And like always, we have Wyatt here with us, who is head of dog evaluations and co-owner of Canine Culture as well. Today, we also have an awesome guest with us, Maisie, who is one of our senior human aggressive dog trainers. Maisie has been a part of our team for going on 2 years now, and we are very, very excited to have her here today so we can pick her brain on today's topic. Hi, Maisie.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going.
Are you excited?
Yeah, a little nervous.
Yeah, a little nervous. So for today's episode, we're going to be talking about dealing with aggression, human versus dog. In short, we'll talk about the do's and don'ts of human aggression in dogs, what the process is to earn their trust, and why training is a valuable tool in human aggression. So, what comes to your mind? Like, what is the first thing that you can think of in terms of human aggression that you think is an important thing to talk about? Maisie. It can be anything. Like, what is, whenever you receive a human aggressive dog, what is the first thing that you try to work on in your private lessons?
Well, I first try to kind of get the background of, where the dog came from and how it all kind of began. And then I take it from there and start doing kind of lessons to see how close I can start to get to the dog and things like that. But it's kind of a lot of just, just trying to bond with the dog first.
Mm-hmm.
You're honestly not trying to do any basic obedience or anything like that at first. At first, you're honestly just kind of showing the dog the ropes,
right?
And just showing them that, you're the one that's gonna show them how to, move past their fears of people or fears of dogs or whichever.
Yeah. So essentially you're saying that creating a bond with the dog is the most important thing, which really that's like that for any dogs. Whether you have a dog that's just dealing with obedience or a dog that's dealing with anxiety, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the bond that you create. But with aggressive dogs, that can be a lot harder. What do you do if your dog doesn't want to have a bond with you?
Because a lot of people think that building a bond is just like giving the dog affection and things like that. So it's not always just giving the dog affection and playing with them and stuff like that. It's just, kind of like taking them out, walking with them, just showing them, hey, you can do this. You know what I mean? And you're not really, showing them affection or anything yet. You're waiting till they come to you. You never go to them. They need to approach you first with that behavior. Once they approach you with that behavior, then that means that they're starting to, understand exactly how things are supposed to be.
Yeah. What do you think, Wyatt?
Yeah, definitely letting the dog come to you. It's like when you're meeting a new dog, you let it come to you. I would say that's the easiest way to get bit by an animal, not just a dog, is reaching.
Mm-hmm.
And if the dog says no, I don't want you to pet me right now, you don't pet the dog.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the hardest part about that, especially with something really cute, like a little corgi or something that you just want to love on, but it will bite you.
Mm-hmm.
Is stopping yourself from just cuddling the dog, because usually it's a fear thing, and you just want to make them happy and comfortable, and they're not ready for that yet. And you got to really be patient and let them decide. I would say that's one of the best parts of our program in general, is we're not making the dogs do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
give them every incentive in the world to be happy and like dogs, or at least be civil, but they've got to cross that bridge.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but once that relationship and that bond is earned, then everything else comes like fairly easy. Not super easy, but you'd be surprised how many times we've had feisty Fidos come in and they literally will not do things for 2 weeks. And on that third week, suddenly now they're starting to do obedience. They're willing to do agility. They're willing to go on field trips with their trainers. So I think people just really don't understand how important it is to build a bond and allow, like Maisie said, for the dog to approach you and to essentially tell you, hey, I trust you now, so I'm willing to move forward.
So I personally think one of the major root problems of human aggressive dogs, or even dog reactive dogs, is a trust problem.
Oh, yeah.
I do not trust my owner enough to deal with this, so I need to step in and do it for them.
Yes.
It comes from a place, usually 9 times out of 10, it's a place of fear, but it's also owners. And not to rag on owners or anything. Most time people just don't know how to handle that because they've never had a dog like this before, because it's probably something with breeding, or it's a rescue and some trauma happened that you had no control over. But a lot of the time it really boils down to owner problems, and it might be you don't even know what you're doing wrong.
Right.
Owner problems.
I was going to add to that I think also people like humanize dogs a lot. And so whenever a dog starts to display aggression or anxiety or things of that nature, then the person is starting to coddle them in a way that they think is going to make them feel better, when in fact it's just making things worse. So like, that's probably the biggest thing about our program is, or any dog training program, is that when we say we train dogs, really we're training the owners, because they're the ones who have to learn how to be able to change their way of being so the dog can continue to live happily.
Well, it's also, you don't want to do the other extreme of the spectrum. You don't want to overcorrect the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Make it work. It's like parenting kids. The trick is to be down the middle, firm but fair, and a lot of fun and attention, but you can't do no discipline, structure, pure positivity, but you can't do the over discipline, old school dog training. You gotta be, it's hard. You gotta be in the middle.
I would like to ask you that question so you can discuss it a little bit, is what has, like, I know people are wondering, whenever you deal with human aggressive dogs, do you correct, or like, do you use aversive methods? And it's like, does that really work? Because we know that when you use something as like a prong or an e-collar on a dog that is genuinely human aggressive and is in the beginning of their training, the likelihood of them redirecting to you is so high, So what do you have to say about that?
Whenever I first start with a feisty Fido, I am only using a slip leash, nothing else, nothing, just me and a slip leash. And depending on how severe the aggression is, then, they may need to be muzzle conditioned or something like that. But yeah, I most definitely wait until the point that the dog fully trusts me. And then if the dog may need a tool, then we will try that. But most of the time, you don't really use a tool like that, because it can backfire pretty quickly, especially dogs that have a more dominant behavior. They most definitely, if you give them a correction, then they're just going to turn around and, grab you. So most of the time it's just using a slip leash and just gaining their trust till they gain that trust. Then you can try to start other tools. But at first, the beginning of the first maybe 2 weeks or even longer, you're not going to use anything like that, or at least we don't.
And that's what we do with every dog too.
Oh yeah,
not just human aggressive dogs. Even if it's, because we have a giant facility, so we can get away from the dogs and people. Even if you're just teaching that dog how to do sit and come and stay, it's making so many mistakes because it just doesn't know
it's learning. It's figuring it out.
Yeah, and English to them is gobbledygook. It does weird noises at them. You can teach a dog potato means sit, and they would sit for potato. You don't want to be overcorrecting a dog for them to think it's a punishment, to make learning not fun. And especially for a human aggressive dog, they're so high strung, stressed out, that it's just a recipe for disaster, trying to correct a dog before they trust you.
Yeah, you just want to try to make them as comfortable as possible in the first, however long it takes them to gain that confidence to start to open up. And then that's when you decide to take it from there, if they may need a tool or if they may not.
So if right now we had like 100 people listening that have dogs that are human aggressive, what would be your number one tip that you would give to those people? In terms of what they as the owners can do. They're not professional trainers, but if you had to provide one tip, what would that be?
I would say you really need to just kind of, a lot of times people get a lot of like anxiety when they take their human aggressive dogs out. And because of the way that they react, that's why we build that anxiety, because, we're nervous that they're going to react that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like amping yourself up in the morning, like, okay, I got this, we can do this. And then just trying to gain that confidence for yourself. Once you kind of start to get that confidence and kind of lose a little bit of the anxiety, then you can start to kind of like show the dog the ropes. However, you have to keep a lot of distance from what the dog is reacting to. So people, you have to make it fair for them, and you have to understand exactly where their boundaries are in order to start to progress. And a lot of times you can start to work with friends and family that, are comfortable working around those dogs. You don't really want to work with friends or family that are afraid of your dog. Mm-hmm. So you need to make sure that it's somebody that is going to kind of like have just like a blank slate and be like, okay, I know this dog, has a little bit of aggression, but I'm going to follow your lead, and whatever you tell me, then I'm going to do that. But this is really, really crucial that that person is not in fear of that dog in order to work with them.
Absolutely.
I would definitely say muzzle conditioning.
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
right off you got a problem. You should correct it as soon as humanly possible. I get rescues. You just don't know what you're getting, and sometimes you don't win the lottery. But if you've got a dog with this problem, muzzle condition them so you can go around your friends and families. You can start doing more walks, because the human side of it is like the hardest part, because that dog, most of the time, they've trained you over multiple years to, when you're walking, to be afraid of other dogs and people, because it's an issue, especially with German Shepherds that are big or Rottweilers that are big. There's a lot of power behind that dog, and they've trained you to be not afraid of them, but have anxiety when you see another person. So muzzle conditioning can really go a long way for owners to really, hey, even if things do go sideways, he can't hurt anybody, can't hurt any of the dogs. He's got this big old muzzle attached to a leash. That's the trick with muzzles, is to most of them have spots where you can weave it through their flat collar or slip lead, preferably a slip lead, so they can't get it off by pushing on it with their paws. Muzzle conditioning is going to be your go-to. I would highly recommend go to a trainer.
Yeah, if you can. Definitely.
If you can do it, you can afford it. Like, it's really worth the money. Getting sued is a lot more expensive than any kind of dog training there is, and time, and it sucks. But dog training is worth its weight in gold when done correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think my tip would depend on where the dog is at in their aggression stage. Like, if it's in the beginning, the dog is only 5 or 6 months old, starting to show signs, like you said, like I would want to begin the muzzle conditioning. I would want to begin trying to make them comfortable around people. That doesn't mean I'm throwing them in and having them be touched by everybody, but I want to start doing socializing and things like that to kind of reverse the effect of whatever it is they believe about people. Now, if you're at a stage later on, like a 3-year-old or something like that, that's where absolutely you at that point, you need to contact a professional trainer. At home, there's only so much you can do, because if it's gotten progressively worse in a span of 1 to 2 years, and now your dog is 3 years old, likely there's nothing easy for you that you're going to be able to do to really make a difference, unless you're willing to have that patient time frame where every day you dedicate time to the side to try to get your dog to change. But that can take a lot. When you think about how, for example, our board and trains, we have 2, 3, and 4 week board and trains. That's a long time that these dogs are spending with their trainers. Even without the weekends, that's still like 5, 10, 15 days. And they are given exactly the sort of expectations that they're supposed to have and the structure that they need. So if you're willing to do that, then do that. But otherwise, yeah, I would contact someone professional.
I would say the hardest part as a layman, not a professional dog trainer, even, it's not very fair up to the dog because you have no idea what you're doing.
Right.
Most people struggle with just like a hyper husky.
Right.
That is just running around being a little wild child and they're struggling. And now you have to add aggression to that. And it's like having regular kids and you're a great parent and then you have a kid on the spectrum. Nothing wrong with a kid. You just don't have the skill set. You need to go learn how to parent a kid with autism. There's nothing wrong with them. You just need to change up how you treat them. Like even some owners, they're like, oh yeah, I've owned Rottweilers my whole life. But this one, it's at 5-6 months old and it's showing aggression.
Right.
And they have nothing in their tool bag to try and fix the problem because they've just never dealt with it before. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Some of these, especially these European guard dog types, sometimes as young at 5 months old, they're already showing aggression. You really got to be on it with any kind of, bully breed or dog that has had guard dog in the DNA before. Over socialization is the key.
Yeah.
It's how you get those big, happy, fun shepherds that are bulletproof, that don't care about anything. It's because they started taking them places as soon as they got like the third round of shots. We're going to go places and do stuff. You can always over socialize the dog. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Right.
I love people too much. Oh no.
Oh yeah. And we have a couple of the feisties that they're already past that point. They love everyone.
Yeah.
Once they realize dogs and people weren't out to get them, they want to be social.
Yep.
They just never knew how.
Yep.
They know how to dog.
Yeah. There's some of the friendliest ones in there.
I love like seeing the change in their faces and their body.
Oh yeah.
They're so much softer and loose. They're like, oh, okay, I don't have to be angry at everybody.
Also, if you go through a good trainer and then 3 weeks in, all of a sudden your dog's pulling really bad to all the people and dogs, that's a good problem. Usually it's, I want to play with them. Don't get upset with trainers when your dog never pulled because it was so afraid and growling. And then all of a sudden it's pulling, wagging his tail, all excited. Happy, fun meathead problems are easy to fix. Anxiety is like therapy and it takes a long time. As soon as we can get that over. That's why Maisie said earlier, we will sacrifice training time for anxiety time. To get over that fear is way more important than come sit stay. Because come sit stay is easy. You can teach that dog in like a week. Getting over a fear of men in hats, hard.
Yeah. Extremely.
It's so interesting, some of the things the dogs come in.
Oh yeah.
Like scared of.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why, especially there was no socializing. I just always think it's interesting.
Well, it's also cool. Not cool. It's interesting.
I was going to say cool.
It's interesting to me to see the different things like an all-female household.
Oh, yeah. And then they're just terrified of men. Yeah.
Or an all-male household. And they don't like, which is rare, but it happens.
Right.
Or the different races of human. That's a thing.
Yes.
Don't feel ashamed and think your dog is racist. You just haven't gotten them around that group of people enough. The amount of people I talk to, they're like, I think my dog's racist. And you're like, it's okay. People are color coordinated. They look different. You smell different. We have different mannerisms. You just need to go socialize your dog with that group of people more. It's the same thing with dogs with other flavors of dogs. Little dogs, big dogs, fluffy dogs, temperaments, personalities. That's why, again, you can't over socialize a dog.
Agreed. Maisie, so why did you want to become a human dog aggressive trainer?
It was never really it never really crossed my mind until I started kind of watching all the different dogs come in and then just seeing the issues and then seeing how they just overcome those issues with the trainers. So once I kind of started to see that, and it just kind of started to come to me. My mom always told me growing up that, this is your calling. This is what you're meant to do. And I really enjoy just working with them. It's the time it takes the amount of energy you put in, and it most definitely is a lot of energy putting in aggression, especially depending on the different cases that they may have. So sometimes you're putting in like way more energy than you would, with a dog that doesn't have as bad of aggression. But being able to show the dog how to be a dog and how to, just walk outside or just pass by a person and go to different places and show the owner exactly how to do that exact same thing and help the owner build that confidence, and watching the dog just change from, this dog that is going to try to severely harm you to this dog that just wants to lick your face off. It's incredible to see. And a lot of the times, even like the first lessons, they're very emotional because the owner has never seen their dog even get to the point of even connecting with another person. So it is just it's a very heartwarming thing to see. And I just really love to help the owners and help the dogs overcome the issues that they're facing in life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think dealing with human aggressive cases is very satisfying and very therapeutic.
Really is.
Because it makes you feel like you just said in a nutshell, is that you feel like you're making a difference in this dog's life in a way that nobody else could until they came to us, And it takes a lot of energy, time, and dedication to truly make a change in a human aggressive dog. Because I think, I'm not going to say anyone, but I think it's very easy for a human aggressive dog to go to a random facility and just maybe make some sort of progress, but they might not make might get close to the trainers or to the person and have an actual difference at the end of their training. So with us, I feel like we really, really spend that time wanting to truly make a change in that dog's life and making them flip, and their whole out like their view on other people and other dogs.
Yeah, it's my favorite part is because we do boarding here too. And we pretty much only board dogs that have been trained here. And some of these sketchy dogs that were real sketch when they started training come back 6 months later for boarding. Nice dog. Like Pasco. He's a giant dog of Argentina. Wanted to murder all the dogs and some of the people. And all the new people that work here have no idea when he boards.
Yeah. Right.
Their owners, they cried when they saw him playing with one of my dogs. I'll remember that one forever. Pasco was awesome. But it's stuff like that. It's not just that you knew you trained the dog for you and it was good. No, they come back for group class, they come back for boarding, and the dog's actually continually staying good. That requires a lot of training to owners, but it is definitely doable. We have trained some real scary dogs with real bite histories and have really full-on attacked people and attacked other dogs. It is fixable. It is not terminal. I don't think we've ever turned anyone away or told them it was not fixable. So yeah, just don't feel discouraged. Don't give up on your dog. It is doable.
Yeah,
it's just time and energy.
Yeah, it's a lot of management. And, even like after, the graduation, you just, everything that I have taught in the lessons and showed you in videos and stuff like that, it's just really, really important to keep that up in order for the dog to continue to progress. Because if you completely stop and, you pick up the dog and you're like, oh yeah, the dog's awesome, but you have to continue that in order for that to, progress. Because if you don't, then it's just going to go back down and it's going to go back into his own ways.
Because he liked his life. Most dogs don't even think they have a problem. Most dogs like to fight when they're already like that. They enjoy it. It's how they get their release, their energy out. And it's like a muscle. You gotta keep working out. You don't get you be nice to people and they'll give you food. They'll pet you.
Right.
They will relapse if you let them.
Yes.
It's like working out. You just gotta keep doing it. Even if you're just doing maintenance, just please keep doing the training.
Yes.
Well, Wyatt.
Yeah, so if you guys got any other questions, if you're in the Dallas or not even the Texas area, we've trained dogs as far as Nevada. If you need any help or you got any questions, feel free to give us a call. Check out our website. If you're in the area, we'd love to train your dog. And yeah, it's very easy to find us. Googling canine culture, we pop up first all the time. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys learned something from this. You can check it out. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram, all the normal social media sites. But other than that, hope you guys have a great week and go have
fun with your dog. Maisie didn't know.